Hey guys, this is Austin with Austin Lindsay Photography. Today I thought I'd do a review / comparison between this Flowcam HD-2000 and the Glidecam HD-2000. Flowcam sent me this, asked if I would do a review on it, and I said yes. These are around 150 US, and then the Glidecam is around 400 to 450 US at the time of recording this video. Because this is so much more, it is made a little bit better. The screws and just the precision and I don't know, the way this works, it's a little bit smoother in that regard. This one actually is made really well. It's pretty much all metal parts and very nice construction. But it is, in a precision wise, things are a little bit tighter, maybe not as smooth, but for the difference in price, this actually is really awesome for someone who's just starting and wants to get into glide cams. It's pretty good little unit. The two major things I'll say is, so you have these screws right here that are on the glide cam sled, and they're actually down here on the bottom with the weights. They are a screw that has a plastic molding around it. The only thing is if you tighten it too tight, which is probably not a big deal on the sled, but it may be a bigger deal down here on the weights where you just want to get them really snug so they won't move. If you start tightening them too tight, my worry is that the plastic will start to just wear around the head of the screw that's molded inside it, and you'll end up just rotating it and it'll do nothing. So that's the only downside, but I feel like you could probably find a screw at Home Depot, or even just order other screws, maybe even glide cam screws. I don't know if the threading is the same, but you could probably replace them fairly easy. But that's one of the things to just kind of take note of, is just don't over tighten those screws. The other thing is, I travel a lot with a glide cam, and with the glide cam over here, dismantling it is just a screw underneath the plate here, and then a screw on the bottom of the foot right here. So dismantling it was as long as that took, whereas the Flowcam, it does have a screw on the bottom here, so we can dismantle this guy just fine. Although the screw is quite a bit longer than the glide cam screw, it does take a little bit of time. And then the part fits up here, the pole to the sled here. It doesn't have a screw. It's actually this silver part right here has a little bit of a protrusion that fits into the pole, and then these two screws tighten into there. So to take the head off, you have to undo the screws, pull it out of the thing, either save the screws somewhere you know where they will be, or put them back in the I guess the protrusion here. So it does take quite a bit of time. That's why I'm not going to do it on camera. It takes quite a bit of time to dismantle this top part. But if you have a place to put it, or a bag case that's large enough, then it will fit in just fine to a case. Okay, on to some of just the differences and similarities. Some of the similarities are the sled itself. It has the 4 corner screws that will spring in and out, and then you twist them in to lock them. The glide cam is a little bit smoother, a little bit more responsive. These ones you kind of have to push, make sure they're in there. Just kind of a manufacturing thing. The sled is basically the same thing, the same shape. The one cool thing that the Flowcam has going for it is they have slots and holes, so you have a little more variety. This one made a slot in here to move cameras around on top of the plate, but other than that, it just has holes all around. So the other thing is the handles. Comparison is The Flowcam is maybe an inch, I don't know, 2.5 centimeters longer than the Glidecams, which is either good or bad depending on how you use your Glidecam or your gimbal stabilizer. One cool thing about this short one is that you can bring it closer to you without it going into your going into your stomach or something. But this one, when I've used it, it's only been, I've had this about a week. It's felt more stable, so I kind of like that. The one thing I do like, the cushioned pad on the Glidecam, but over time, and it takes a while to do this, so it's just something depending on how much you use it, but it does start riding up the handle and you have to really just kind of work it back down, which will take a little while. Kind of rub your hands raw for doing that after a while. So the one thing I like about this is that so far, and it does look like it's probably just set there, like they have the aluminum pieces on top and bottom of the rubber grip. So I feel like this is going to stay where it is for a long time, but time will tell. The bottom of these, they both have the hole. This one has, or the Flowcam has a little plug on the bottom, which will probably get lost soon, but they have a hole so you can put them onto a vest or even like a light stand so you can balance them. So the bottom weight area, one cool thing, probably just because of copyright, is Flowcam has rounded off the corners, whereas Glidecam has these really sharp edges, which I've, during an event, have ran into people accidentally, or just sat on a couch or rubbed it against like a pair of pants or something, and it just kind of either ripped it or scratched it or broken skin on me or somebody else I've hit it into accidentally. So it is nice that these have these rounded off corners so you don't have to worry about that. The other little thingy is these feet are held on by screws, so they're most likely not going to fall off, but you can also kind of keep aware of them and tighten them as you need. Whereas the Glidecams, they're just held on by glue, and the glue will just get old after time, and then the rubber feet will fall off, and you can tell I've lost a few of them. And the other thing is the screws on the bottom. I do like on the Flowcam, or the Glidecam actually, they have the slotted screws, so when you're tightening these the weights on them, you can put a key or a penny or some coin or something in there and hold this thing steady while you tighten the nut on the top. The Flowcam, you'd have to carry around your Allen key or something. I mean, I'm sure it's not that hard to hold your finger over the screw head and tighten the nut on the back here, but I haven't used it long enough to know if that's going to be useful or doable or not. So far it does work, so maybe it's not that big of a deal. Just some small little thing that I've noticed. One of the other differences is the hand or the knob that tightens the adjustment of the pole. Can't tell which one's good or bad yet because I haven't used it quite enough to know. The Glidecam, it just is like a butterfly nut, that butterfly screw that tightens onto here, clamps onto there, and you're good. The Flowcam has this, I don't know what they're called, but it'll like pull out, and then you can loosen or tighten this thing. So you can actually just, it's like a butterfly nut that will like allow it to go in and out. But you can tighten it. One cool thing is, I don't know if just because of design or whatever, like if it's tightened and it's all the way out here, you can actually pull this thing up and then drop it back down on the screw, and it'll make itself a little bit more low profile, which I think is kind of a cool idea. I have, like I said, I haven't used this. I've only had about a week, so I haven't used it in enough applications to know if one or the other is better. I've never actually had a problem with anything wise with the Glidecam with this type of tightening system. So I doubt it'll be a problem either way, but it's kind of a cool little difference that I thought I would point out. So I think that's pretty much everything on the differences and comparisons. Out of the two, if I was just starting out, if I had to buy one again, The Flowcam actually has a lot of really cool features that I think outweigh any of the negatives about it. And for the price point, if you're getting into it, it's awesome. If you're one of those people who use it occasionally, it's definitely the way to go. I would highly recommend it. If you're a person who uses a Glidecam all the time, very frequently, then it may be better to go and spend a little bit more money and get something that's a little bit smoother, a little bit just nicer experience to use. So yeah, those are the differences. If you have any questions or anything, leave a comment and we'll do my best to answer it. Thanks you guys for watching.